Welcome to Gran Canaria. In this video, I'll show you some ways to keep fit whilst on a family holiday. Today, I'm on a social run organised by North Face, and I can honestly say it's only 5k, but it's probably the hardest run I've done in years.
I flew from Glasgow to a resort in Canaria in Gran Canaria. This was Heath's first trip in plane. He slept on takeoff and landing, but he was awake for everything in between. The airport is small, relatively quick to get through. It took 30 minutes from landing to getting out the front door onto a bus. The bus was a 20-minute ride to the resort. All in all, it was 8.5 hours door to door. Canaria is famous for its lighthouse and its very expensive hotels. It's not a cheap destination, but flying out of season in February kept the cost down. This was our third visit in 7 years to this hotel. Everything is well maintained, the gardens are immaculate and the swimming pools are all great. There's even an adults only pool for people who want to do swimming without being hit by a kid's inflatable toy. It's mostly families staying here, so don't come if you don't want to hear the noise of a crying baby. We got a complaint on night one and the woman next door said, "Why is your baby crying?" Well, he's a baby. Babies cry. Thankfully, there was no more issues for the rest of the trip. The food and drink is all inclusive. There are 4 restaurants in sight serving a variety of food. We even had chocolate pizza. I'm not sure if that's a main course or a dessert. I think the joy on my face says it all. It didn't taste very nice. After dinner, Heath would have a play around in the lobby and then head to the kids' disco. His favourite night was when they played rock music. There's a boardwalk along the coastal front of Canaria that goes all the way to the sand dunes. It's good for a morning run. You can do a 5k loop on it. There are nudists on the beach, so do be careful, they hide in the trees. Which is what I tell my wife to scare her. We were in town the same time as the Gran Canaria races were being run. This is a series of runs culminating in a north to south traverse of the whole island. The event is sponsored by the North Face and a number of their athletes were taking part, including Courtney DeWalter, one of the world's best runners. The North Face put on a couple of free social runs. My wife and I decided to do one. How difficult can a social run be? It was very difficult. Everyone on the run had been training to do the ultra. We hadn't. So this was easy for them, but it wasn't easy for us. It was also very hot. It was 3 degrees Celsius when we left Glasgow. It was 28 degrees Celsius when we were running. Neither of us were used to the heat. The route was only 5k, but it wasn't long until we were on our own in last place. My wife decided to head back down rather than carry on, as she wasn't enjoying the conditions. I decided to head to the top. I was glad I carried on because it made me realise I should never sign up for the Gran Canaria race. If I can't do 5k in the sun, I definitely can't do 70k. Afterwards, to recover, we went for a dip in the pool. And then, because it was tiring, we went for an afternoon siesta. Instead of running hills in the afternoon sun, we preferred to head out for a run first thing in the morning when the temperature was around 20 degrees Celsius. It was hot, but not unmanageable for Scottish runners who like the cold. This is a 10k loop around Maspiamos sand dunes. It starts with some road running, and then we headed over to Hotel Rio Palace Maspiamos. I think I've mangled that name, but forgive me, I don't do Spanish. This sits next to the sand dunes and was built before lots of rules were brought in to protect the landscape. You can run through it and out onto the dunes. You used to be able to wander the dunes, but now the authorities have put in fences and marked trails. It doesn't stop people from wandering off to explore, but there are rangers who will shout at you. In the 1970s, ex-Glasgow Rangers manager Jock Wallace took his players to a beach to run up and down sand dunes for pre-season training. Star striker at the time, Derek Johnson, was quoted as saying, "We only went to Gullin with Jock once a year during pre-season training, but that was quite enough for all of us, I can tell you." It was very, very hard. The day after running up and down those sand dunes, your thighs were just solid. You could hardly move. To see how this felt, my wife attempted to run up and down a sand dune. She did it once, and that was more than enough. It's higher and harder than it looks. But she's better than Derek Johnson because she was able to run the next day. The last part of the run is back to the boardwalk and along to the lighthouse. And this wasn't the only run that we did, there was one more. Every evening we'd go out and we'd run around chasing bubbles. Enjoy a short video of a baby being very, very happy.
Oh, you got that one.
Hey. You got it! This one's going. This one's going. This one. Whoa!
When he wasn't chasing bubbles, he enjoyed nothing more than wandering around the lobby and stacking cups. If you're cycling, you could take your own bike, but I prefer to hire one. This is Free Motion Bikes. They have stores throughout the Canary Islands and I've never had any issues hiring from them. I wanted to do 2 rides whilst I was on holiday, a road ride up to Canaria Dam and an off-road ride to see the runners doing the Gran Canaria race. I decided to hire an electric mountain bike rather than hire 2 different bikes. This did make the road climb easier, but the flat sections and downhills were actually slower than when I last did the route on a road bike. The big heavy wheels and frame kept the overall pace down. Gran Canaria is perfect for cycling. The roads are all excellent and the climbs tend to be between 5 to 7%, which makes them a challenge, but not too difficult if you're reasonably bike fit. The route starts by heading out along the coast. The road is mostly bikers and there are very few cars. After 10k it turns inland and the climbing starts. It's relatively gentle for about 15k as I roll through small villages and big valley walls. At the 27-kilometre point, the real climbing begins. There are 7 kilometres of hairpins, all on 7% roads. There is one cheeky 14% section, but it only lasts 50 metres. There was a few other people on the climb, and I wasn't the only one using an e-bike. I also wasn't the only one with a camera strapped to the front. I passed a man who was talking into it as he cycled. I wonder if I'm on his YouTube channel. At the top of the climb is the aforementioned Soraya Dam, and more importantly there's a cafe that sells ice cream and a coke. The return journey is great as there's 30k of downhill roads. The next day I visited the finish line of the Gran Canaria race. I wanted to follow the route from the finish up into the hills so I could see the runners. This guy is the winner of the race. The two with their tops off are just having a fun run. I thought I'd done this route previously, but I was wrong. I'd done a similar route, and it was much easier. If I'd known how difficult this one was going to be, I don't think I'd have done it.
That's such hard work. I've done 7 miles in an hour. And all along this section back there was these sort of boulders. And you had to concentrate all the time, otherwise you'd fall over, which I did. So it's like cut my hand, but nothing too bad. And as soon as I said it, I would really like there to be less stones. There's more stones.
After the stony path, I had to come up this steep climb. I'm very impressed with the skill of this man going down it.
I don't think the camera will do justice to just how sweaty my face is, how sweaty I am. I just had to push my bike all the way from down the bottom of the hill here, about probably 250 metres up, very rocky, steep path. Oh, please come to a good road soon. Hallelujah. I think we finally found a road.
These runners had just left a rest stop, which is why they're looking pretty fit. On the way up, I did bump into Courtney de Walter. She said, "Hola," so I said "Hola" back. I think that makes us best friends forever. Gran Canaria is my favourite Canary island. It's great for biking, running and swimming, if you have a good hotel pool. I'll leave you with some shots of the landscape. It looks a lot like the Grand Canyon. Stick around for a surprise at the end. I spotted some interesting creatures whilst here.